na ben ba ko to yi buku kayange.
Hello, good afternoon. In case you're just joining us, you're live on ZAT TV Ghana. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd day of the month of April 2026 in the year of our Lord. And I, on behalf of my team, welcome you to today's edition of our conversation issues of today. It's a beautiful afternoon, and we are returning to talk about very important conversation about our deen, about our faith, and the work Masjid Al Emaan has been doing over the years, and in our communities, in the promotion of Islam, and of course, in the support of our communities in Islam. You know that in other conversations you call it evangelism, but this is evangelism, in Islam, or the spread of dawah in Islam. That's what we are talking about, because we haven't done it all, even though sometimes we feel that Islam is saturated in Tamale. There are other communities that are just struggling to make sure that they have their faith empowered and stabilized to be able to be part of the larger Muslim Ummah. That is a conversation that we'll have this afternoon. My name is Ibrahim Angamana Hassan. We'll pause for a break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest who is seated already. Then we'll begin the conversation. Yes, stay with us. Eh? That's what I want. What is that? Oh. Charlie, I want to get I have sent them, but I didn't count. My credit has sent it, so
I can send it to him, or
you still have it.
right? Yes, I have.
Okay. Everything you have sent.
I should just forward. The name is Alasan.
Wahab.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome back to our conversation on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Like I indicated to you, today we want to talk about Islam, the propagation of Islam, and how we can also contribute to the sustenance of the work done by the Al Emaan Foundation, led by its executive director, in the spread of Islam, especially in rural communities across the region and beyond. On behalf of my team, my production team led by Abdul Habib, supported by MCR, Abdul Jalil, and of course, Pakali is at the camera. Together, we are bringing you this conversation. Stay with us. And my guest, like I indicated, is Al Hajj Yusuf Husseini Amuda. He is the executive director of Masjid Al Emaan Foundation. He's joining us. Good afternoon, Naj. Welcome to our
Good
conversation.
afternoon, Chief. Thank you so much for the
It's
opportunity.
been a while.
Yeah, sure. The pressure is too much. We are always everywhere. We need to help our people.
It is well.
Yeah, sure.
Today we are sitting again to talk about your work, the work that you are doing in the communities. But first of all, Masjid Al Emaan.
Yeah.
There you are, the foundation.
Yes.
What is it about?
So basically, our foundation is just a faith-building organization. We want to tell people that Islam is about work. Islam is not only prayers. It's about doing good to humanity. That is the core. So at Masjid Al Emaan, that is our core message, that humanity first. In all we do, we need to realize that we are all humans before any other thing. So that is why currently we are running about 8 programs. First, we have what we call the Preamble Foundation. That is basic education for all. we believe that basic education is a survival tool in the 21st century and beyond. That the time would come, if you don't have basic education, it will be very difficult to survive within the communities. So we make sure that all kids who are not in school, we enroll them in schools. Then when they go for the new term, we go and award their excellence, those who were first, second, third, we award them in front of their colleagues just to encourage them. That's what we do at the Preamble Foundation. We have what we call Islamic community projects. And the Islamic community projects, we're able to build a health post at Nangbao, and it's working currently. Yeah, so under that one, we have our second project at Dalambala. We are building a 3-classroom block with an office space. Then we've reached the window level. So apart from that, we have what we call our parents. Those who have lost their parents, or even if your parents are still there, you do that on behalf of them. So we are currently building a 3-classroom block at Mbanayele, and we are almost done. Inshallah, by maybe in 3 months' time, we should be handing over that building to the community. We have what we call our community projects. And our community projects, we collect used clothing, then we distribute it to the communities. So what we are not using, what the kids are no more using, their old textbooks, their school bags, whatever that a human being can make good use of, we take them, then we take it to our communities. Now we have a mobile Quranic competition. This competition, we organize it, we go to the districts and we organize it for the kids. The main idea is that most of these competitions are done in Tamale or the urban areas. So a kid who is also brilliant in these communities, when would that child get the opportunity to come to Tamale to do that? So we take the competitions to them for them to be able to compete amongst themselves, and it's really, really boosting their morale. We visited so many districts, about seven or six districts so far, and we'll continue with that. Now we have what we call Tahfiz centers. The Tahfiz centers is, we've created a database of all Tahfiz centers across the country. It's not even Northern region. And whilst we were creating the database, we tried to identify their challenges. So there was a Tahfiz center in Accra. They wrote to us. They needed copies of the Quran and some other materials, and we were able to provide that. And so we also have Agri-Data Venture. Agri-Data Venture is for farmers. We have a WhatsApp platform we call the Extensionist, where we have been able to gather all the experts in the agri sector. And so if you are a farmer and you have a problem, you just do a voice record and tell them that you have this problem. You can even take a picture, and the experts are there, they will respond to you. So after farming, if you want to sell, we have another group called the Produce. That is where you can sell your produce, and it's nationwide. Techima, wherever people are buying and selling on that platform. The last one, we have moon sighting Ghana, where we educate people on moon sighting issues, and we give information about moon sighting and the methods of determining the moon. Yeah, so that's the 8 programs currently we are running as Masjid Al Emaan.
At the center of this area that you have mentioned, how can we locate any of them close to Islam?
All the activities.
Yeah, the activities that
good. So if you look at all that, you see, the essence of Islam is to keep you alive so that you can remember God. That is just the essence. If you are not healthy, if you are not alive, can you remember God?
No, absolutely.
So you need to, and you don't have to tackle the people one side. No, it should be holistic. So that is why we start from education, because even if you are educated, Islam becomes easy for you. If you are not educated, it becomes complex for you. You get the point? So apart from education, now we know that, especially in northern region, we are farmers. So if you are saying that, oh, I'm a Muslim, I'm just preaching the word of God, what about the farmers? You bring them along. So you see that a farmer, I go to talk to him, oh, do this on your crops and all those things, so I can chip in something. Oh, Islam says when you harvest, you have to give zakah. The farmer will listen to you better. So Islam is a complete way of life. It is not just one-sided. It's not about prayers. And we have explained this several times. It is a way of life to make life very easy. And we shouldn't think that Islam has come to make life complex for us. No. It has come to make, it is very simple. It is sometimes we complicate the issues. So Islam is a religion that makes things very, very easy. And the core essence is that once you are alive, just remember God. And the remembrance of God comes in several ways. We have that of the tongue and that of action. And here, if you realize that most people concentrate on that of the tongue, but that of the action carries weight. You see, somebody comes to your office and maybe you help him. You have remembered Allah. That is remembrance of Allah. You want to do something bad, you remember that no, it's not good. You have remembered Allah. It's not about the tongue. It is good you can combine both, but the one with the actions carries more weight. The activities what we are doing is the remembrance of Allah. All our activities, all the Tafi Center. Look, if you go to the communities to distribute the used clothing, like you just boost your faith. Because the clothing that you are not using, you give it to someone and he's going to package it and use it not every day, but on special occasions. So you realize that sometimes when we go to communities and you come back, you just stop complaining. You realize that you are in heaven. Look, even here, such a water, when you want to buy, you select and buy. You go somewhere and you look at the water they drink. You have no choice. And they are happier than you. What is happening? Is that the people are happy. Yet you select such a water, you have light, everything. But this person, no light, the water is very dirty, and he's happy. Then there is something wrong with us. It is the heart. So it's not the resources you have that makes you happy. The happiness from the heart. So that is why we are just encouraging people that is why Allah says, in the remembrance of Allah, do hearts what find satisfaction. So when you say you will not remember Allah, you will continue to suffer. The resources you have amassed cannot make you happy. That is why you see somebody on a bicycle very happy, and you see somebody in a V8 driving while talking. So whatever you gather cannot make you happy.
So how is your approach cementing the religion of Islam in the hearts of the people in the rural communities?
Yeah. So usually before we enter any community, community entry is very, very key. Because when you miss that point, you are doomed. There are some communities, for instance, like mobile Quranic competition. We were to enter a community. Our first contact person, he said no, the competition will not happen. Because some people had come earlier to do such a competition and his students did not perform. So the others were using it to mock him. So he said no, the competition will not happen. So at that point I said no, okay, let's change a different district so that we have to come back later. Because when you force it, it won't work. So we changed a district and we came back and we changed a different route and entered the community and we're successful. So that is where if you don't get it right, your programs will not go. And never underestimate anybody in a community. Especially there are some communities you go to do work and you see that somebody is there, maybe a Form 4 leave or something. He has gone to school, he has not finished and all those things. He comes to speaking, you have to be very careful with those people because if you misbehave and he says they shouldn't listen to you, you are doomed. So you need to know because they will come and ask you questions. What are you going to do? Why are you getting this good? Why are you giving us this? And all people ask you this. You are going to give them charity, but you have to justify because people have used that to make money. So they are right. So sometimes you just have to explain to them this is what we do and we have done this and that. Now when you give them any message you give them, they will take it serious. And our core message when we go to the communities is on children. Our core message is just on the kids. That whatever happens between a man and a wife should not affect the children. Our focus is just on the children. We should allow the children to grow in an environment, a loving environment. Don't put your problems on the kids because they also grow to meet their own problems. That is our core message. And we encourage the women to take care of the children, support their husbands. The husbands too should support their wives because Islam is a way of life. It is not about building mosques, you go and pray. No. And we should make sure that we love one another. It's about love. Once you love somebody, because you cannot claim to love me when you hate my children. It is not possible. So if you claim you love Allah, you need to love His creation. If you just want to show Allah that you love Him, love His creation. And when we say Allah's creation, it's not about human beings alone. Anything that Allah has created, you need to love that thing. Anything, animal, whatever it is, not because of that thing, but because of the Creator. So it is very key that we get this, because when you hurt somebody and you go and you are praying, do you think Allah will listen to you? You hurt me so dearly. You hurt my kids, and you are coming to talk to me. I will not listen to you. It's the same thing. So, and what we always tell people is that it's not that people will not hurt you. People will hurt you, but you forgive them not because of them, but because of Allah.
Absolutely.
It's just because, like, if you go to your boss's place, maybe to talk to him, and this child comes to hit you, you are just managing so that the child will not cry. But if the child cries, it will affect your request. It's not that you are not hurt, but you are just massaging it so that the child will not cry. Because if the child just cries, it will affect whatever you are going to tell your boy. So it's the same thing. So make sure that love should be the way forward. We should love one another. We are all the same phones, but different covers. Everybody uses oxygen. Who uses carbon dioxide?
So now, when you get to the community,
Yes.
you come to a point where you are shocked by the fact that maybe we have we sit here and overrate the fact that Islam has penetrated every community. Were there situations like that you feel that we need to reassess that notion? That we sit down in the northern region and say, "Oh, Islam is predominant across all the board."
It's funny, and people always say that we have a long way to go. I always say I don't agree. We have not started going. It is when we start to
Talking
go.
of measuring how long the journey
Exactly.
is.
It is when we start to go, then we have a long way to go. But we are still sleeping and snoring. So we have not woken up yet. Look, and when we talk of communities, not far communities, so nearby communities. You go there and people cannot even perform ablution very well. We ought to up our game. We are joking. It is serious. Look, most of these communities, in Islam, shirk is what Allah does not forgive. But it's still common. You still go to the communities, even in town, it's still common. What are we doing? So what we plan to do, because if you go to the communities, it's scary. People don't even know what Islam, what is it?
Tell us about these basic issues. For example, performance of ablution is foundation of prayer.
Exactly.
And so if you don't know how to perform it,
how do you pray?
How do you pray?
And people don't know it. People don't know those things. The bath, complete bath, Janaba bath. People don't know this. And they are just nearby communities. So we need to up our game. We need to go to the communities. We need to educate our people the basics. The basics. No, look, I always tell people that some of our communities, you go there and you ask people, simple, why are you praying? Why are you Muslim? They can't tell you. They are just praying. Someone is there maybe fasting, they don't even fast. The essence, they don't know. So at Masjid Al Emaan, what we plan to do if we get funding is to now dwell on workshops. We want to organize workshops and call people, especially I want to start with the traditional healers. We want to start with them. Even though sometimes I talk and people get scared. I said, why are you scared? We want to call them and ask them the shirk part of what they use to treat people. Why don't you get it off? Let's introduce them to technology. Some of these things, just technological things. You are walking, you come and a door is open to you. What is opening that door? It's not about slaughtering fowls. No. It is about technology. You go and there is a water dispenser, you put your hand like this and water is coming out. What is there? It is technology. Let's expose our people to technology. You go to the village and bring somebody. Expose him to this. He will start thinking something. Because he is not exposed to it, Satan is taking advantage and is just using him. But when you try to introduce them to some of these things, and that was the method the prophet was using. He sat with them. Let's think through. I mean, these days, these things and this that we shouldn't be doing this. But if we want to say that, and I always say that they say Muslim, we have Islamic names here. And there's difference. But
we
the
have a lot of
core,
Islamic names,
lot
but
of Islamic
not
names,
necessarily
Muslims.
Muslims.
Yes, it's the core, Islam, the basics. Shirk is just something that we should not even go near because Allah will not forgive you. But how many people are not doing it? Most people, if you see people are not doing shirk, it's because life is good for them. But just let some small test, you will start doing it. So this is what we should be focusing on. Let's hammer because people die every day. We shouldn't be wasting time. We don't have time. We don't have. So we should try. Let's get to the communities and Tamale here. Let's be vigorous. I don't believe like, oh, there is time. No, there's nothing like we should follow them small. Let's be vigorous. Let's get the shirk out. Then we'll start with other things. Because shirk is still very common here. It's very
Because
common.
some people have argued that maybe sometimes our approach to issues,
methodology.
before you get to me, you have already condemned me. So why would I listen to you in the first place? You say, oh, because I am into this, I've already gone to hellfire. And so how would you then? Why should I even listen to you in the first place once you have condemned me?
Exactly.
How should we look at our approach to convincing people, showing them the way to what is real Islam?
Yeah, this is very, very important. Methodology is very, very key. Masjid Al Emaan, we describe it like if you are going to do dawah. Dawah is like a soul market, a market of souls. That you go into the market and call people to Allah. That is dawah. You are inviting people to Allah. Now remember, Satan is already in the market. Also getting people.
Are doing so well.
You get the point? Now, when you go into that market, it is about wisdom, not knowledge. So you might have a bit of knowledge, but the wisdom should be more. Because if it is knowledge, so Satan is more knowledgeable than you. So you cannot use knowledge to win him. So this is what we have to get to. There are certain places you go, you don't even talk about Islam. You just talk about farming. There's always a time. Let the people start to listen to you before you start some of these things. But you don't just go to a community and say, shirk is haram. When you do shirk, you are this. Then that means that you have already condemned the people. There was a community we went to distribute used clothing. So once we were distributing, and usually sometimes we do it in the mosque, I saw one man sitting. Then I asked, I said, why did you call him? I said, oh, he's a drunkard. I said, so what? We have come to give clothing to people. Then he said he's a drunkard. I said, so okay, assuming it was that if you fornicate, a number will come and write on your forehead. I said, if you go to town, some people you can't even read their number. So because he is drinking, you can see that one. The one you are doing. What about that one? I didn't come here to give people who are not sinful. I came to give to humanity. Probably that gift can bring him closer before you now talk to him. So the key thing, the first dawah is your behavior. It's your behavior that will attract people to you before you can talk to them about God. That is one. Now the other thing we also do is that we quote a lot from the Quran. And this is not helping us. You see, when you start to talk to people, talk to them at the human level. Try to convince the people. Now, when they refuse, this is where you now come to, okay, this is what Allah has said. For instance, if I want to talk to somebody about fornication, I will not even go to the Quran. I will tell you the effects. Because whatever Allah says we shouldn't do, it's for us who. It's for our own benefits. Because if fornication you can
there are issues of heaven and earth, but there are social effects of it. There are health effects of it.
You see,
possible psychological effects
exactly. So what I ask people, so assuming we didn't have the Quran, so we won't behave well. Some things are just basic, they are values that we should have in our lives. Because if you do this, you can get diseases, you are spending money, you are wasting your energy, spiritually you are weak. Before you now come, if he refuses all this at the human level, then you can now come and tell him that, okay, this is what Allah says. If you refuse this way, but you don't start with what Allah has said. Because you see, if you go to TikTok now, most of the Gen Zs, they use those things as music. You see that they just tag somebody and they are using it to, so the spiritual aspect is lost. They now just enjoy it as music. Somebody could just even bring probably a lady and be saying the verses that talks about fornication. He will just be saying it like music. He doesn't know the implications. So we need to try. For instance, Friday, Juma prayer. Look, you are coming to talk to people. It's sermon. You are advising the people. Why would you use 15 minutes to read Arabic? Why? The people are sitting there. Your tribe people speak the language they listen to. But why would you use 15 minutes, some to 20 minutes, to speak to me in a language that I don't understand? It means the first 20 minutes, what I say, you are not communicating to me. Then you have to now turn the Arabic to the local language. Is it necessary? Is it compulsory? Use the language to advise me. So we're advising young people to go to the mosque very early. You know, it's very important that you go to the mosque very early. And some of them complain that if I go early, I sleep. Because the first 20 minutes you used to read Arabic. It is allowed that probably when you just read some few sentences, then you start with the local language. For people to understand. Now, look at Ramadan, our tafsir. Why don't we have topics to discuss? For instance, this year like this, I was expecting every center to be discussing drugs, to be discussing drugs, to be discussing how we can get water Islamically. Because Islam covers everything. What approach can we use? If you are not getting the Ghana water, what? Can we get boreholes? What strategy can we use as a people? How can we manage so that our kids would have better classrooms?
Then you add a topic like climate change.
The
weather, we're suffering from it.
These are the issues.
Talk about the environment is dirty.
Thank you.
And Islam, cleanliness is at the core of Islam.
These are the issues.
But is it not from individual how we train the people who are supposed to preach the word of God to us? Because even though sometimes people argue that there's no common sense in religion, but I believe that there's a lot of religion is built on common sense. Because the words of the verses of the Quran are there, but there are issues that are preventing us from even understanding the basic verses of Quran. We have mentioned them. Now our survival challenges to our survival is poor sanitation, one, unemployment, two, then health issues, then the issues of water, then the climate change we are talking about. And so if you are unable to solve this problem, even your deen will be half. Because there are things that you want to do, you cannot do them. So how do we begin to change the narrative? That I have been saying it always, that others are able to convince others to join their religion because they are taught with a certain approach that make a sinner comfortable walking to them. And then they change the sinner to a true believer. Now I'll ask you a question earlier that before the person you get to the person, you are already condemning the person. Then why should I listen to you? The person is, you are a drunkard, you are a thief, you are adulterer, you are fornicator, all these names. Somebody listening to that will not even give you attention.
It is very true.
But how do we begin the narrative that yes, Islam is growing, but we can adopt an approach that, of course, Allah is also forgiving. He has passion to forgive people every day. Other than that, I'm not sure if anybody can make it to paradise. So how do we begin this approach so that we can let people understand that this is a religion that cares for everyone, that at any point in time, if we decide to return to it, no matter how far you have gone in sin, but he will accept you.
So, for instance, I want to start by saying that those who say there's no common sense in religion, I totally disagree. And we have stated this several times. When you say we don't use logic in Islam, why? Look, the reason why they write your good deeds and bad deeds is because you have logic, because you have sense. When somebody is mad today, nobody will write his sense. So that your book is your sense. It's because of your senses. That is why when a child is small, they don't write. So now when you are matured and you have sense, that is your book now. So to tell me that there's no logic in Islam, it is a non-starter, and it stacks people. Like, people should not think, people should not ask questions. That is where we are stuck. Open it up, you see. And this time we should be very careful. What you are trying to hide is on the internet. They can read it. So better tell the people. Better tell them
before you lose them.
Exactly, that's the point. So we at Masjid Al Emaan, we just want to tell people that look, I focus on humanity first. If I see a lady is dressed not properly dressed, I can still talk to her about God. I didn't ask her to not to dress that way. It's God. So that is, and God has shown me what to do to prevent anything that would maybe lead to fornication. He said I have to lower my gaze. So if I'm going to talk to her, I will lower my gaze and talk to her. Let her know that your religion accepts people. But if you think that, oh, I saw him standing with a lady and the lady was just wearing shorts, so we should just leave them like that. What would you do to bring them back to you? So it is very important that we should know that none of us can get paradise except unless we can.
Yes.
Let me stop my stop. Okay. Wow. And to stop it. Let's stop it. The basics are.